Blog Talk Radio.
Peace to the family. All right, so we got some family in here. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of this. Dick Gregory, Dr. Sebi, cognitive dissonance. Because actually, cognitive dissonance in the community is a lot bigger than this issue. But I thought this would be a prime example that we could use to actually deal with this issue or bring some light to the issue anyway. So we're going to start off with Chase Millions. Let's go with the smoothie of the day, brother.
Is the cat.
They can't hear you. You got to talk to the people.
The smoothie of the day is called Cashew Tropical Breeze. 1.5 frozen banana, 1.5 cups of low-fat vanilla almond milk. You can also use hemp milk, pineapple, a half of cup of orange juice, 1 cup of frozen mango, a half of a cup of frozen blueberries.
All right. You all Harriet Washington out, bro. Okay, go ahead. Get back to your regularly scheduled program. Chase Millions, everybody. Chase Millions. He thinks he's some type of superstar. We just left the Harriet Washington lecture, though. It was a very powerful lecture. I should have the children do a segment on what they're going to say in lecture, but we'll see how they feel. They did good, so they done flagged me off right now. All right, so let's go through this issue. Let's go through this couple things. The God Complex course. Everybody just have a little bit more patience. It's still in beta testing. Well, no, the course is already up and running. We just passed the 1-year anniversary. But the new platform that everybody's anticipating is we're still in beta. I think I'll be able to roll it out tomorrow on Talk of the Titans or on Black News 102 Thursday. But we should be able to roll it out within 24 hours. So everybody who's already in the class, you guys will get emails of your logins because you'll automatically be logged in. Everybody else, well, you guys are everyone else. All right, so let's lay out exactly what we got going on here. All right. Tail of the tape, so to speak. Now, I'm obviously late. All right? I'm late, but here's the thing. If I'm late, and when I made the post on Instagram today, I only made the post after somebody else sent me a similar post or commented on the post saying something, and it blew my mind. I was like, wait a minute. Why would Dick Gregory, why would anybody, forget Dick Gregory, the fact that this Dick Gregory just puts an exclamation point on the shit, but why would anybody comment like that make a comment, a comment that could be taken derogatory? Not even a derogatory comment, because if you feel it's a true comment, then you may not feel it's derogatory. But why would you make that comment on a man after you know, what he meant to the community at large. You know, a lot of people, and feel free to put your hands up, because I you know, when I put the post up, the post almost had more comments than likes. So I really don't like when people comment, they be going in back to back on Instagram, but then when it's time for their voice to be heard, they silent. That's sucker shit, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? People hide behind social media. It's not like we got your address so we can see your face. You know what I'm saying? But you should let your voice be heard. But I just thought it was crazy. But I didn't even want to throw it on my page, to be honest, until I had actually verified, because I didn't want to believe that about Dick Gregory. Sabi. I didn't even want to believe that Dick Gregory would actually call Dr. Sebi an agent. Like, I thought that was, I mean, you know, y'all all know the crazy stuff that just happened at the end of the year. Then, you know, to top off the craziness with Polite and Sonetta and Seti and Pharaoh, Umar jumps off the top ropes, you know, out of nowhere and calls for the elders, but he did it by, you know, with his ego involved. So then Seti took offense, and like we all saw that, how that spiraled out of control. But the only reason I'm bringing that up is because Umar called on the elders. Like, yeah, we need to bring elders involved and blah, 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 blah. This is what the elders, like, Gregory is supposed to be the quadruple OG. He's probably one of the only people before this incident that everybody would agree on was an elder, because being older doesn't make you an elder. Being older doesn't make you an elder. It's what you do. What's your contribution to the community, the struggle, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, when you speak about elders, a lot of times there's not a widespread general consensus on certain people being an elder or not. You know, so love Dick Gregory, you know, up until the point where now we have this situation that we face with now, where we may have to reevaluate his, you know, like in the hood, you know, we had hood passes, you know what I'm saying? So now, you know, we might need a conscious pass. Like, we might have to have a conscious community pass, like a hood pass. You know what I'm saying? So if you violate in the street, your hood pass could be revoked. And if you're in the hood after your hood pass revoked, it could be a go on site. You know, we may have to have a similar, you know, a similar situation develop in the conscious community where your conscious pass could be revoked. It may not, you know, it may not be a go on site, but, you know, in terms of information, your information may have to go from the point where, based on your status in the community, it's like when you say something, it holds a certain type of weight. Like, yo, Dick Gregory said that. Now it might have to be challenged. So, and to be honest, when Dick Gregory said it, knowing all that I know about Sebi, which is quite extensively a lot, you know, it's a lot more than you know, John Q. Public knows. I had to say to myself for a second, like, okay, first things first. Don't hurt yourself. Let's walk this thing down. Let's go step by step here. Let me get confirmation that Dick Gregory actually out of his mouth called Dr. Sebi an agent. So that was the first thing I needed to do, was look online and see where this claim that people were saying that Dick Gregory called Dr. Sebi an agent came from. And for the most part, the conversation is coming from a post on Doggy Diamond I don't know, there's a gentleman named Doggy Diamond, and it looks like he had a primarily like a rap, exposing rap page, and I guess, the views kind of went down on that, so now he's branching into consciousness. They fresh and cutting edge, whatever the case may be. But he's new to consciousness. He's not, he's not somebody that's been around in the trenches. So he has this on his page. So for me, that kind of took a little credibility away from it until I actually pressed play, and then I seen Dick Gregory not only say Dr. Sebi was an agent, but he referred to it in a past tense kind of manner. Like, yeah, well, when I was talking about Dr. Sebi being an agent, what I meant was blasey spleet. So I watched that video, and what he did was he made 2 or 3 quick statements on it, and then he went to something else. Now, like I'm sure most of you have done, I just go to the search bar now. Now I click off of that Doggy Diamond's website, and I go to Google, and I just press in Dick Gregory, Dr. Sebi, just like that, because I don't want my search to be biased in any way, so I didn't put a verses or nothing. Dick Gregory, Dr. Sebi. And sure enough, a whole bunch of hits came. Well, not a whole bunch, but more than zero, because I really touchy with the whole situation, to be honest, because I just it's just a it's a tough situation. So I see another video. People are still commenting on the video. They're not tuned into the show. They comment to the IG post, and they're not tuned into the show. So if anybody doesn't know what my Instagram is, it's at Minister Inky Wasir. Okay, at Minister Inky Wasir. So anyway, his claims boil down to this. Now, in searching up, trying to really get a good idea of where was his credible evidence for saying this, I watched a couple other videos where he said Dr. Sebi was an agent, because apparently, he's been saying he's been saying this. He if you watch a couple videos, you get the gist of what he's saying, but he does the same thing every time. He makes 2 or 3 sentences about it. He'll say Dr. Sebi's an agent, and then what he'll do is, one of the tactics that I really don't like, and I see it happen in consciousness a lot now because of the debate mentality, and it's not necessarily just because of the debate mentality, but it's really because people are lazy bums, and people like to take advantage of the fact that most people that follow consciousness aren't really astute. So what I mean by that is simple. They know you're not studying, so they don't really have to study. They're relying on winning people with personality and style, as opposed to hard-nosed research and information. This is a ploy that you'll see happen quite a bit in arguments. People do it in regular life outside of consciousness too. We'll be arguing about bread, and somebody will say, yeah, but look at this. Did you see how much orange juice costs? That's my point. I told you the bread was expensive, so they'll bring in some random things that have nothing to do with the point to try to validate. And if they're fast enough, people will go along with it. So on a couple of these videos, he's asked about Dr. Sebi. He says Dr. Sebi's an agent because he's an uneducated black man who walked into a courtroom and beat the Supreme Court barefoot. And then he'll segue away and say, yeah, well, did you see how they did Martin Luther King? Bop, 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 bop. Like, whoa. Bro, that's a serious accusation. Elder or no elder. You could be an infant. That's like in the street, you calling somebody a snitch. Like, That's a game changing with information. So just to say that he was a barefoot black man that beat the Supreme Court, that doesn't really say he's an agent. That just says he's a powerful barefoot black man. And then his, he said a couple other things. He said that many people have went to the Usha village for help and died, or died right after leaving the Usha village. This is what he alluded to in one of the videos. And then he said, okay, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much his claims. Now, there's a sister who jumped off the top ropes. Oh, no. His other claim was also that Lisa Left Eye Lopez was killed because she was going to expose some things that she saw in the Usha village going on with Sebi. So that's why she was killed in an accident where nobody in the car was injured except her mysteriously. Another sister who picked up the argument and said that to kind of clarify, I guess she's acting as Dick Gregory's lawyer. To clarify his argument, she said that it's not so much that he was a barefoot black man, but the fact that his case was misrepresented. He never proved in court that he cured AIDS. What he did was prove in court that he wasn't using medical claims, which was actually what the case was for. Then went on to say that he never cured Michael Jackson, which is the reason why the doctor killed Michael Jackson. And this is the reason why Dr. Sebi sued Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson didn't want to pay him because his stuff didn't work. All right? Now, problem with that. 71 witnesses came to that courtroom and testified on Sebi's behalf. Okay? So that's pretty much almost a grand opening, grand closing, if you ask me. However, what I did a little bit more digging, old articles, and then when I was about to Okay, so excuse me, it looks like we had a little technical difficulty right there at that key moment in the conversation. So I don't know what y'all missed because I'm talking and thinking I'm still live. So I'll go back to the articles that I found. So what it looks like is, Dr. Sebi. Now, our people have always been attracted to drama. You know, that's just, I don't know, it's good for better or for worse. So people tend, no matter what type of truth you have, no matter what type of science you have to get people's attention before they really listen to anything you're saying. So there has to be something that you do to generate attention to get everybody. It's like if you're in a shopping mall where there's music playing, half the people drunk, high, sick, crazy, running around. Everybody's got spend media. Everybody's in a rush to get where they're going. You have to do something really loud and crazy to get everybody in that mall to stop what they're doing and just listen to the sound of your voice. So it looks like when Sebi jumped on the scene, Dick Gregory was the Dr. Sebi at that time. And Dick Gregory was promoting the Bohemian diet. and he had some products. He had a whole plan. I mean, he had the whole plan. He came with the diet: eat this, don't eat that, take this, blend this, use this supplement, don't use that supplement, bop, 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 bop. He had walked from Cali to New York or some extreme feat, which really was the attention getter for him, right? So I understand the argument, maybe. You know, I get it. There's two different approaches always. Some people do something on their own to generate attention and then give people whatever they got to give them. And some people attack other people to create attention for themselves. Now, it looks like Dr. Sebi kind of was in the middle between those two strategies. It looks like he kind of created a lane for himself, but at the same time, he was attacking the multi-million-dollar, let me make sure I say that correctly, the multi-million-dollar Bohemian Diet empire. Okay, and single-handedly, you know, truth is it's very nasty sometimes, because you can attack somebody personally because you're attacking their business. You can't attack somebody's business and say it's not personal. You're only lying to yourself. That is a form of cognitive dissonance all in all of its own. If you attack somebody's business, that means you're attacking somebody's ability to feed their family. That is absolutely a personal attack. If you clone somebody's business, meaning somebody has an original idea, something they're doing, and then you copy it and jump on, you're watering down their business. That is an attack on their business, which is an attack on their family and the means to provide for the family, etc., etc. That is absolutely personal. Now, with truth, you can do that by accident, and it's not your fault. So I'm not saying to water down the truth, withhold the truth, whatever the case may be, but in your truth, especially when you're dealing with a subject as volatile and as crucial to the people as health. As health. You come in and immediately you're saying, hey, food gene consistency. People are like, what the fuck is that? Based on where you come from, your ethnic group, you should have a certain type of food. If you come from the equator, you should have equator-based foods. If you come from a cold climate, you should have cold climate-based foods. People didn't know what that meant then, as there's plenty of people who, after Sebi is past the transition, still don't know what that means now. So at the time when he said it, it was revolutionary. So people stopped and he had their attention. And when he started to explain what he meant about hybrid foods, synthetic foods specifically, and foods that were not consistent, because it doesn't have to be a hybrid or synthetic. It could be a natural food that's just not consistent with your genotype. Let me say that again. It could be a natural food that's just not consistent with who you are, where your people are from. So when he started to go in and point out to people all the things that were not healthy for them, without saying Bohemian Diet and Dick Gregory, he basically washed the Bohemian Diet and the multi-million-dollar empire. Now, later on, lines got drawn in the sand, shit got crazy, names started getting called, and this is how you had the situation where all of the healers at that time stood against Sebi because of the things that he was saying, similar to Minister Enki. When you start coming in and you telling the truth about a lot of, hustling in the health business, you coming from a place of love, like, listen, this is just what it is right here. But people who are making a living off of hustling people are going to take offense. Period. Because they looking at it like, listen, this is business. And no matter what they do, if I direct them off of poisonous stuff, I am contributing to their life in a better way. I am giving them some degree of wellness. So why are you knocking my hustle? You know, so people take offense. And then you have now, with the advent of social media, personality worship. So it gets even deeper. And it existed at their time period too, but it gets deeper now. So I personally understand what it is to outline truth and have people take offense to that, to the point where, I mean, I hope that nobody would ever take offense to the point where I'm gone, transitioned in my grave, and people are taking that as the green light to go on me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what Dick Gregory was doing. I didn't see any videos of him saying Dr. Sebi was an agent anywhere until August on forward. August on forward. So, that's what that is. And I definitely wanted to open up the conversation so that, because it was so much commentary. It was so much commentary on the post. I said, we have to deal with this. And the reason why it's a cognitive dissonance conversation, the reason why it becomes a cognitive dissonance conversation is simple. We have to be able to start to make critical decisions. Now, if Dick Gregory is correct in saying that Dr. Sebi was a government agent, which anybody who knows the truth of how he passed and how he died, one of his other claims that Dr. Sebi was an agent is because, again, he's an uneducated, barefoot black man. How does he get enough property in Honduras to open a business? And just some of them is just so, that right there is just so insulting and beneath. It really undermines Dick Gregory's intelligence, and this is what really brings me around to this cognitive dissonance thing. Because I'll speak my opinion. I think that Dick Gregory is completely full of shit, and people around him. This is what happens. Anybody could fake in public. But your wife, your children, the people around you, like, it has to be a real empty feeling as a man when the people around you know you're lying. When the people around you know that you're built, who you are is built on nothing. It's built on falsehood. It's built on made up, exaggerated shit. It has to be empty. People congratulate you on shit that you know you didn't earn. When people pay you for shit that you know you didn't come up with, like you're taking credit for. So when Dick Gregory says things like he knows who killed JFK and Malcolm, like, these are claims that he's made about aliens and just personalities and entertainment, and just he's been every time something is going on, he's been right there. He was there. He was there when Malcolm was plotted against, and he was there at this place and that place. It's amazing how he's been so vocal about all these things. He's there eyewitnessing everything and telling all. And there's zero repercussion. Zero repercussion. So what I'm saying is we have to have cognitive dissonance. For you people that may believe that Dr. Sebi was an agent based on Dick Gregory's empty claim, okay, fine. Continue to listen to and support the things that Dick Gregory says. But for the people who find it disturbing and an unfounded claim, I don't want you to have cognitive dissonance and then take everything still hook, line, and sinker that Dick Gregory says as fact. Like, we have to begin to assess things and then act on the assessment. Because this right here is crazy. To say that Dr. Sebi may not have known everything about health science of the body, of course not. None of us do. No one ever. No one may ever. But to call him a government agent, especially knowing what I know and how he died and how what was the whole the setup to steal the company and like that doesn't happen to a government agent. That's the exact opposite. So there has to be some sort of consensus now where I'm not saying negate everything Baba Gregory has given the family. I'm not saying that he hasn't been a truth seeker, a researcher. He hasn't tried to teach and enlighten the family. I'm not saying. But what I'm saying is everything from this point forward, as far as I'm concerned, must be viewed with a certain degree of skepticism, and I would like to see it renew a zeal in all of us to research the things that we hear and to act on the things that we know. It's crazy. I see a certain level of cognitive dissonance, for instance. And anybody who wants to comment, just go ahead and press 1 and I'll get around to you. But I see a degree of cognitive dissonance when I hear lighter-skinned black folks talk about melanin and the difference in melanin from white folks and black folks, and bang, 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 bang. They goes off on the differences between the melanin and how the melanin and the pineal gland and the white folks is calcified pineal gland and they don't have no melanin and blah, 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 blah. And soon as you begin to talk about the two different types of eumelanin there is and how lighter-skinned people don't have eumelanin, they have pheomelanin. They begin to say, oh, no. Black, we're all the same. That doesn't make a difference. We're all the same. That is a form of cognitive dissonance. This shit has to stop. It can't make all the difference when we're talking about, different ethnic groups, but when we talk about our own ethnic group, then it doesn't make a difference. It does. I do this. I know biology. I know biochemistry. It absolutely makes a difference. And this is just a form of cognitive dissonance that I see as a barrier for us to get from where we are as a people to where we need to go. Big 300-400 pound women cannot put on, belly shirts and spandex and say they got a they got a strong personality. Like, yo, stop this shit. You're fat. It's cognitive dissonance. If you're not able to look in the mirror and say that you have a weight problem, you're never going to do the things that you need to do to change it. We have to be able to objectively look at ourselves as people, objectively look at the situations we're in, and make assessments and then act on them. Period. So, this thing that's going on is something that's been going on since slavery times. And you could say slavery or prisoner of war, whatever you want to say, because people get ridiculous with it. But in time, when black people in this country were in bondage to European slave owners or chattel human property owners, the Europeans didn't invest in any health care. They didn't pay any health care. They didn't pay for the slaves, quote unquote, to get seen by a doctor. You know, unless they had a personal relationship, it was 1 in a million, 1 in 1,000, whatever the case may be. But for the most part, it was much cheaper for them to just buy a new person than try to repair one. Just like how you do now with a cell phone. Your cell phone acting crazy, but you due for an upgrade. Like, I can get a new iPhone for $50. I can fix this screen on this one for $95. What am I gonna do? No, get rid of this old. Just get rid of the 6 and get me a 7 for $50. Right? So that's what they were doing with humans. So what you have to understand about that, why that's relevant to the conversation is because who handled the health of black people during that time? It was mouth-to-ear transmission of herbalists and holistic healers. Primarily the men. Primarily the men were the healers, and the women, like the tradition of being a healer was primarily a man, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because mom, Big Mama, she didn't need to be called a healer because she was mom. So she automatically, like the mom-daughter transmission of healing, health, herbal, cooking, like that automatically was a given. You wasn't really even a mother unless you like nowadays all you have to do is have a baby to be a mother. Like that, it was rules to the game before. If you didn't know how to cook and how to do the herbs and if you didn't know how to heal, that was a serious dynamic. You wasn't really a mother. You needed help. So the healer, to be called that, was usually a man because it wasn't common. It wasn't something taken for granted. So that was, So now, fast forward, post-slavery, and this is something that Harriet Washington spoke on tonight. Post-slavery, to drum up business and to keep control of the population of the quote-unquote emancipated slaves, they mounted an attack on naturalists, natural healers, and herbalists. Now, years later, the game changes a bit. Doesn't change much. But, 14th Amendment, black folks running around, they feel like they're free. They don't really understand the transmission of ownership, et cetera, et cetera. This is not a platform for that. Now, in order to fight for the market share, because natural herbs and natural modalities were always the way. It's not alternative medicine. It's not alternative therapy. It's not alternative options. Medicine, antibiotics, and surgery are alternative options. Those are new things. Heliotherapy and herbology have always been the only two forms of healing or the major modalities practiced around the world. People might say, well, what about water and fasting? Water and fasting wasn't even, that was like foundation, water and fasting. So you didn't even get to herbs and sun until you got water and fasting down. That's like standard. But they replaced heliotherapy and herbs at the same time with sulfur-based antibiotics. Sulfur-based antibiotics. It's important that I keep saying it that way. Sulfur blocks the sun. It reflects the sun from your tissues when your tissues are loaded with sulfur. Who needs that? Who needs that? Not deeply pigmented people. We don't need to block or reflect the sun from us. So you have to understand that this has been an ongoing thing. And now that you have billions every year invested into the exploration of ways to control the population, you have to understand that natural herbalists, naturopaths are the antithesis, the antagonists to that movement. So people ask all the time, why are herbalists demonized, and it looks like they're being hunted, and what's going on, and blah, blah, blah. What do you mean? Do your history. Do your history on this thing. You know? So now that Dick Gregory is not getting, you know, it really looks sad, because I really love Dick Gregory, and it's just sad that I don't have cognitive dissonance. You know, for him to say this right here just brings into question all of the other questionable things that I thought that I gave credence to, because sometimes when people talk to you, they might say something and you like, really? You know, like, really? But based on what else you know from them to be credible, you go along with it like, nah, you know what? 9 out of 10 times he never led me astray, so I'm going to go with this one. But now I have to question all those things. So, you know, and we live in a time now where views equal fame and money. You know, so people slow down, their business slow down, they start doing and saying crazy things to get attention. They start doing and saying crazy things to get attention instead of digging in their bag and becoming more creative. You know, if Dick Gregory needs more bookings, then Dick Gregory should be digging in his bag to become more creative and more funny. But this is not funny at all, period. You know, and I think the sister, M. Michelle, I don't know her name or her YouTube, but I think she's really distasteful. You know, I looked at her YouTubes, and it seems like she's built up her page, you know, off of this controversy, so to speak. So, you know, I wish her well. I wish Dick Gregory well. I really would like to see people let Dr. Sebi rest. You know, there's a lot of people that are trying to use his legacy to hustle. You know, they really don't know a lot about biochemistry in the black body and how it functions. But they're trying to repackage and remix his thing. You know, you got a lot of Europeans doing it. There's CMOS out there, white folks selling, you know, with Sebi's picture on it. You know, it's just crazy. They took the company and hijacked the products. That's not the same. Like, I really would like to see Dr. Sebi be able to rest. You know, if you want to keep Dr. Sebi's legacy going, the way you do that is continue to investigate, continue to study and learn your body so that you're not dependent on this system that does not have your best interest in mind. Period. You know, and it just so happened to coincide with the lecture tonight. I got you. I see a couple hands up. It just so happened to coincide with this lecture tonight from Harriet Washington, you know, post-slavery. They developed two concepts, health and fitness. And a lot of us today, we think that we understand those concepts, health and fitness. But there's a difference. The origin of health and fitness is slaves and slave owners. Slaves, they pushed fitness on because they wanted fit slaves to work, which most people that work at corporate America, you know that your job is pushing fitness on you right now. Why? because it increases their bottom line. It cuts sick days. It cuts them having to fire people from taking too much days off and retrain new people. And it slows down productivity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is still about the same thing. Health. Health is totally different than fitness. Health is totally different than fitness. This is about expanding your lifespan. Expanding your lifespan. This is why we have the God Complex course. This is why we have the God Complex course, so that you can learn how to expand your lifespan and your children's lifespan. But we have to have these kind of critical conversations, and we have to begin to look deeper into this thing. So with that being said, I'm going to take the 267 caller from the 267. Hello. Come on.
Peace.
Yo.
Peace to God. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Peace. I just chimed in on the joint. You know what I mean? I caught you talking about Baba Dick Gregory and his potential senility, possibly, and I was concerned about that. I would say about a year ago, I heard him on one of those YouTube channels I listened to. I think the guy's name was The Archivist. He used to do some conversations with him, Baba Dick, and they were very intriguing. Do his little year-end reviews, and Baba remind me of my own grandfather that passed away several years ago. So, you know, I used to be like, yeah, you remind me of my grandfather, the way he talks. But then he used to get a little rambunctious where it used to sound a little offensive, like, to the young man. And the guy was about, like, 36, 37, doing these nice interviews with Baba. I think he was one of the gentlemen that actually got him resurged in the conscious community with his conversations. So it was very interesting, but the way he would talk to him as far as condescending, foul language, I understand that in the comedic sense when he does his stand-up previously, but it had me questioning some of the things he would say, you know, in his book of facts. Facts can be facts in the past and not necessarily facts in the present. So I questioned some things to myself. So it was
right.
Something different.
And listen, let me say this.
Oh, peace to the family too. I apologize. Peace to the family though. Apologize. Peace to the family.
No. Yeah, no doubt. But I think that a lot of us had that experience where some things we noticed might have been questionable, but because it's Baba Dick, we rolling with it. Now, when you start saying crazy things, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, yo, where are the people that's close to you that's getting ready to pull your coat? Like, yo, take it down. Instead of, because to me, it looks like, you know, everybody's thirsty for shine. So he might be thirsty to get his attention up, so he's making crazy statements like Dr. Sebi being an agent, but then the people who are irresponsibly videoing and putting this up.
True.
You see what I'm saying? Because this ain't Dick Gregory don't have a YouTube channel, not that I'm aware of. So
no, not that I'm aware of. You're right.
Right. So it's got to be some type of, you know, we got to see. And here's my thing too. You know, a lot of people don't like when I say this, but I've had money. I've never been a millionaire, but I've had money. So it's not somebody that's never had any money saying this. We have to, as a people, get back to the point, like we have to find this middle ground. Because we went from a point where, because we didn't have anything and we were in extreme poverty, we looked at money as evil. And anybody that got money or that was trying to get money as evil or con man. Now, fast forward to 2017, we got black millionaires and billionaires, but we're still not making any progress. And the reason being is because we've sacrificed our spirituality and our moral systems in that quest for money. So now, success in general in the black community is anybody who's getting money. So it doesn't matter if you're selling coke, if you're selling your pussy, if you're selling your ass, if you're doing homosexual, like it doesn't matter what you're doing to get money. As long as you got money, hey, you're successful. We got to come up with some type of middle ground where, yeah, we need to get money. We can't be stupid. We have to have, like, money's not everything, but it ranks right up there with air. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna have to get some money. But
women need that money.
I think, right. But I think the general consensus has to shift to the point where we begin to see success not just in the acquiring of money, but what you do with your money, what you do with your notoriety. What are you doing stature now? Now that you done went out and did whatever, you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Okay, nigga, you made an omelet already. Now what you going to do? So if you're going to use the platforms now to tear down a man that's no longer here to defend himself, like from where we from the street, you're not even supposed to tear down a man that's still alive and kicking, that's incarcerated.
True.
Because he don't have a chance to defend himself. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to tear down a man that just passed and that you weren't saying this shit when he was here?
That's right.
So I think
guys in the hood do that. Guys in the hood got codes for jail codes as far as not speaking on people like that. You're right, Inky. Go ahead.
Right. And so I'm saying, like, how you an elder and you at that level, and where are the people that love him personally? Wife, children, these people that keep sticking microphones and cameras in his face. See, people see this money thing, I'm telling you, is a big part of this. Because when you need money, you will look at somebody friendly that say, hey, here's $200 for an interview. I just want to talk to you for a couple of minutes. Here's a $300 donation. You like, oh, yeah, this is my, this is my man. This is a good little youngster. Yeah, he's supporting, because he coming with a few dollars. But when he stick that camera in your face and then record you and then throw it up and you're making crazy claims looking wild, you got to know that he looked at that $300 as an investment to build himself up off you, not with you. So, the money puts us in precarious situations. You know what I'm saying? So I think there has to be a new consensus on success.
Well, for one thing, I know, like, Dr. Sebi professed that he wasn't a saint, and with him being the way he was with his diet and so forth, I know Baba Dick Gregory, when he talks about he's not a saint, and he wasn't a saint either as far as how much he drank alcohol and how much he did through his years and his life, that, no matter how much vegan or vegetarian, whatever his diet may be, some things might be coming back to haunt him right now. And that's where I look at to I guess for a way out, I would say, as far as why I can understand.
Right, as well as his personal fight with cancer as well. So I think all that's coming back to haunt him.
I believe so. So that's what got me to looking at it in a different light, I believe, to where, like you said, his family and, a lot of children he had different issues with themselves because he was at a different point in his life when he, when they were conceived and raised by a man that might be looking at different stature at this point. But back then,
oh, wait a minute,
these people.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying.
So as far as the seed that was birthed from the soil that was there, it wasn't great soil at the time, is what I'm saying. So a lot of people the children might look at him differently, because I've heard him speaking on his children and where he's at. And when people get older, they say what they got to say and don't care about anything you might have to say. So from what I've observed and heard from interviews lately, it was a little I don't know what to say. It was a little off to me. So I noticed the gentlemen that were doing interviews with him, he strayed away a little bit, and you see Dick Gregory on his tour. He's doing his tour. He's trying to get that money, like you said. I respect that.
Now listen, here's the elephant in the room. What if Dr. Sebi was an agent?
I'm with you on that too. I'm saying, what if he was?
Now here's my thing with that. Even if he was, which I would bet all my pennies in the bank that he wasn't, based on what I know. But just to because on the comments on my IG, you know, there's 2 or 3 people like, yeah, well, you know, benefit of the doubt. You know, there's always somebody devil's advocate. My thing is
True.
Even if that be the case, if we're all researching what we're told, like even an agent can't mislead us. You know what I'm saying? Even an agent can't mislead us. And what he has told us from me researching and then researching, 90% of what he said, I mean, it just contributed so much to everybody's life that I think that was just way out of pocket. But I got a 786 caller on the line.
Hey,
Come on, you stay right there. Don't go nowhere.
I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm here.
786, what's up? I had to click you in right before the thing, the studio thing went off. But you live.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Peace. Can you hear me?
Peace. Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. How you doing, Minister Inky? Listen, first thing I want to do is commend you for protecting Dr. Sebi's legacy, because somebody's got to do it. And, you know, everyone else, well, not everyone, but many people are going to just sit here and look back and forth and not going to make a move to protect or do anything, even if they might know something to be untrue. So I want to commend you for that. And about Baba Gregory, you know, I, like you, for a long time wondered how he was so-called speaking truth or allowed to speak all this truth and still alive. Like, I mean, if all this is, like, if all this is real, how come he's still alive? Like, no one's going to stop him but to stop other people? It didn't make sense to me. So from there, I had to start to question stuff. You know, like, it just didn't make sense. You can't everything be true and you walking around. Nobody else is doing that. People dead, and yet you know, bulletproof. It's just weird. But,
right.
I
story he tells,
I remember
like him, the person who got killed and the killer is in this room, and Dick Gregory somehow witnessed the killer killing the person, and then him and the killer seem to stroll out of the room together, and then he tells the whole world who did it, and no one ever, you know, to me that was crazy.
Wow.
Like the one time, I don't know if you remember this one, where he talked about the time he accidentally won the presidential election. And he was like, go find out for yourself. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You remember that? But,
oh, my God.
What was I going to say, though? But didn't he start out as
listen, let me say this. What I know right now is that heart disease is being surpassed as the #1 killer by brain disease. Mm-hmm. So forgive me right now, because we might be laughing at a sick man. Dick Gregory might really be sick and need help. You know what I'm saying? But it's a thin line, because as people get older, they do get less. You know, they just get to the point where sometimes they don't give a fuck. And, you know, being that Sebi single-handedly ruined his multi-million-dollar Bohemian empire, Bohemian Diet empire.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You know, it could just be him. It could be him not being senile. It could just be him still feeling a certain type of way about that. And now that Sebi's gone and nobody's going to speak up, because people in the conscious community, they would prefer to be quiet in hopes that they can have the opportunity to go, you know, do a show with Dick Gregory. Like, well, you know, Dick Gregory's still powerful and popular, so, you know, maybe he'll choose me to do a show with him, and then, you know, like people got this shit.
So the carrot juice and wheatgrass ain't working then.
Right.
The carrot juice and wheatgrass don't work.
Right. So many people was mad at me about the thing I did with David Banner and the light-skinned guy.
I was just about to touch on that, because I swear, when you put that post about David Banner, I was in the middle of a workout. I almost hit the floor. I was like, no. But then I realized where you were going with it.
Right. And I'm like, yo, I love Ben and the other guy for what they're doing, but to say that you frontline with the struggle, you got to put some blood and sweat into this joint instead of just conversation. Like, we got off of online. There was a brother on the Sunday night, and he was debating the head of the Black Panthers about strategy for black folks. And every time they asked him, what is he currently doing in his community, he would sidestep the question. Until cornered, he was like, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just on YouTube and Facebook. I'm like, yo, that shit right there is a poison right now we got to deal with.
That ego work, like you said.
Right. You shouldn't even have a pass to comment on anybody that's active, whether they're doing a bad job or a horrible job, unless you're doing something. You got to be doing something more than talking on social media to be able to comment on people that have dedicated their lives to the betterment of other people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, this is getting crazy.
I have a question because you touched on melanin a little bit, and I remember looking at one of Dr. Sebi's videos where he mentioned about melanin, and if I recall correctly, did he not say it didn't exist or something? And I just wanted to ask you if you remember hearing that and what that was about.
Yes. Now, here's the thing, and we actually put together, me and KT, a book called The Melanocyte Manifesto based on that question right there alone. And that was like a large impetus for us to even put the tour together to commemorate his legacy and to really straighten out a lot of misconceptions, because that's a popular one. Dr. Sebi was not a barefoot, uneducated man. You know what I'm saying? Like Dick Gregory would have us believe. You even have a couple other guys that tried to take shots at him because he said he didn't get his knowledge from reading books, as if his premise was nobody needs to read books. He would tell you in those very same lectures that he was an engineer. So, as an engineer, he definitely read books.
Right. You can't just be an engineer. Right.
Right. So it's not about, he just, like, people have to understand, when you go through this conscious thing, freedom fighting, black power, pro-black, when you get out there and you really try to help people, the most disheartening thing is that people won't help you to help them.
Yeah.
So it's like,
you mentioned that.
You could work in corporate America and mind your business, and whatever you know that's empowering, you could keep that shit to yourself. And you can make 10 times as much more money than actually turning around and trying to help people and share that information with them.
And really standing for something. Say you are.
That's right. The biggest mistake I made in consciousness is we got a spring. A spring. Now, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all these people is in contention to try to buy this spring out to push us out. They don't want they definitely don't want no black folks. They don't want black folks in manufacturing and shipping. They definitely don't want you to own a resource, especially the most precious and sought-after resource on earth right now. So I'm thinking, you know what? People, family, love. I'm thinking, you know what? Let me go ahead and roll this out. Let's do this as a group. You know what I'm saying? I got my Facebook. I roll this out. Do you know them people turned on me and try to attack me and sue me behind some dude that's like, we found out he came into the group and saying he's an aspiring actor and film director. 5 months later, we find out he's in the military and all kinds of crazy shit. And
I remember.
Right. So not to get too deep into that, but I learned from that, like, yo, you really, like, the Jesus syndrome really is crazy. Like, the people you try to help will stone your ass to death. So, you know, with that being said, Sebi learned, because being around the family, KT, Mama, so being around them, I learned that that Dr. Sebi actually started with a lot of heavy science and really trying to explain to people the ins and outs of this thing to the best of his ability, because he'll tell you in his lectures he got the science from the Mexicans in terms of the herbs and so it wasn't like he studied the body and learned it. You know, he read a life Muhammad's book, How to Eat to Live. He went and got the herbs and everything from Mexico. He shared with people the technical aspects that he knew. But that didn't as much as telling people the stories and testimonies. So he just started telling people that. And when people had a problem, instead of explaining, fix it, he just told them what they needed to get the job done. So his simplification. So when you look at the carbon, to make a long story short, carbon is what makes the intangible, the things that we can't see and touch, tangible. It's what brings things from the spirit to the flesh, so to speak, to use an analogy. Because when you look at oxygen, we know we need oxygen. If we don't have oxygen for a few seconds, few minutes, we drop dead. But we can't see. Yeah, but we can't see and we can't touch oxygen. We know we need water. Water is made out of oxygen and hydrogen. But we can't see or touch hydrogen. In fact, hydrogen is such a light element that it floats out of the atmosphere if it's not bound to another element. Things don't become tangible until you bond them with carbon. Carbon bonds things and makes them tangible. So when you look at the core of melanin, it's carbon-based acids. So
that's where he went with it,
and it's carbon, to take it a step further, carbon and oxygen, that actually, carbon and hydrogen, that actually allows things to absorb light and radiate light. You know, when you start to get into aromatic amino acids and biogenic amines and all those kind of things, it's the carbon base that allows that to happen. So there was a degree of simplification that was taken because we're not studying, you know, and then always looking for a reason to come in with the gun and shoot you down when you on top. So it's like, he said no such melanin. We all know there is a such thing as melanin. We knew he was bullshitting. Not exactly. You know, like we can't. That's why I'm saying, even with this huge blunder that I see as a blunder that Baba Dick Gregory just made in coming out with this Dr. Sebi's agent bullshit, I still would not wholesale discard everything that he's contributed. I'm just saying that from here on out, we have to change some practices, and we have to, you know, this Dick Gregory combo now is like, it's okay. All right, Pops, we heard enough. Now somebody,
but
you know.
I'm also saying I'm still waiting for you to win that Nobel Peace Prize because you deserve it. So I just want to say thank you. That's all. Much support. I'm gonna continue mine for you.
Oh, hey, I'm gonna keep pushing for it because, you know, if I get the Nobel Peace Prize, y'all know we getting ready to show out. That will validate. That would validate what we did on a super large scale, especially since you know, people are trying to attack Sebi's court case winning. You know what I'm saying? Which to me was almost like winning the Nobel Prize for a holistic healer to be able to walk out of there like that. But you know, what scientists around and you know what, I'm glad you brought that up, because what scientists around the world are doing is they watch what we do and they steal it. They steal it, and then they write their papers and blah 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 blah. So recently, I just wrote a paper on water and melanin, and put that out in a scientific format, peer review. People could look at it on my website, whatever the case may be. Now it's on a bunch of other websites. You see, so that people can't steal that and clone it and claim it, because there was a Chinese girl that used to come to the lectures and buy all the books, and now I see her. She's a scientist, and she's back in China, and she's teaching science with metaphysics. I'm like, oh shit, this is crazy. May Ho Fan or some shit like that. I forgot her name, but she's famous, and she's PhD, and now she's like, yo, this is nuts. But people have been doing that for the longest. And you know, it's audience hopping. It even happens within the conscious community. If somebody feels like they have a larger audience than you, they'll steal your material and run it to their audience. And because they have a larger audience, people will believe that they made it up because they heard it from that person first, when really that's your material, but you might be speaking to 300 people. They speaking to 30,000.
Yeah, but the trip-up is further down the line. They're not going to be able to elaborate as much, and if people are listening critically, they should be able to see that, though. You see?
Right. No. Of course. But what happens is they just keep on watching. So you got these Europeans. They got laboratories. They got clinics. They got the facilities, and even worse than that. And this is what falls back on us. They have the support of their people to be able to really take these research to the next level. You know, we got to do this despite our people. They're doing this.
That's right, in spite
of their people. Yeah, our R&D money as a people goes to the strip club on the floor. I'm in Detroit right now. I'm just having a conversation with another brother. He like, yeah, well, you know, they closing the schools down. I said, brother, let me tell you something. In the worst part of the recession or depression in Detroit, the worst part of the bankruptcy, the strip clubs never felt it.
Right.
Any given night in Detroit, you could take all the money that they sweep up and put into garbage bags, and Europeans take away from them black girls, because them black girls don't
make you feel good.
Right, it's like a different type of church. But on any given night, that strip money could build a brand new hospital from scratch. On any given night, that strip money could build a brand new facility, a new gym, a new community center, a new school, a new library. On any given night. So that's why I'm saying we got to change this thing from success, because this modicum of success that we have promoted, it doesn't only apply to the people in the street. It applies to the guys that's going to college and then going and getting $100,000, $200,000 jobs. Oh, this guy here, he's in the tech industry over here. He's doing something over there in the tech industry. He made X amount of dollars. So the fuck what? What did he do with them dollars? He ain't did shit in the community with them dollars. I don't see no schools, no clinics, no hospitals they building with them dollars. So until we start to see the works, the fruit coming from these people with their dollars, we have to stop praising dollars. We're too happy about dollars. Oh man,
that's energy. That's their currency.
Got dollars. Right.
That's currency. You need that. So that's what the strip club bring though. That's that energy.
Wait, but I'm about getting money. I'm about getting fresh. You know, get your line up, get your fitted hat, get your shoe game, your shirt. You know, I'm about that. But I'm saying there still has to be some sort of priority scheme.
Right. It can't be life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right.
Right. You know, we got to have some modicum of a new. We have to have a new declaration of success, and it has to be based on what you're doing with your dollars once you get it. You know,
we're just gonna have to keep leading by example. Those of us that have enough heart to do so, you know, and just keep leading by example. That's it.
Well, I would like to ask you what we need to do, because the black female tells us everything. You know, that's the mother right there. Of course, she will let us know what's in fashion, what's the next movement in technology, what's important, because, you know, us men, we only do what you want. Or we do what we need to do.
I'm not going to agree with that 100%, but...
well, I'm saying a lot of guys try to impress. I'm saying it's all about impressing the female.
Yeah, but a lot of the moves that people make are persuaded by media. It's like what you're watching, you become. And if people are going to be watching mainstream, that's just what it's going to be. You got to get out of there first and foremost. Get out of there and find a different form of entertainment to begin with. You know, like all the stuff that you watching, you can't digest that.
Well, that's true. Well, the majority of us are watching and listening to this as edutainment. We listen to the conscious information. Like we come home to our YouTube channels filled up with what's the new what's the new information for the day, or what's the old information that's being revised. But as far as like how to make money, I was just bringing it to attention that you know everything is about the female pretty much. This is if you want to call it what Pilgrim says, it's the Women's Month right now. March is Women's Month or something like that. So what better time to talk about it then?
That might have to
I
be
wouldn't let that be the focus. I would let spirit be the lead of anything, and then everything else will fall into place like that. So you want to look at what you're giving back, and then you're going to get in return. You see? Not just, let me buy these shoes for this woman. No. If you're a leader, especially I can speak from the women, we love leaders. So just lead, do things and give back and be that positive light, and you're going to attract, please, so many women. This is great.
Oh, no doubt. I'm not talking materialistically. I'm just saying, like, whatever, like you said, you want a leader. You want an alpha man pretty much for if we're talking finances, for one, it's just like what topic, what genre do we need to focus on? Like, of course, being conscious. Yeah, go ahead, man.
I think that might be another show, bro. I think because that's a whole other issue right there. Like seriously, we might need to have a show on that. I'm serious.
And we should.
Yeah, the conversation, because I that's what I really wanted to do with this Chasing Inky show, is really just like, the idea came from so many people. It was like literally somebody sent me a message like, I'm tired of chasing you. And I was like, okay, Chasing Inky.
That's hot.
And then Tony was like, no, but it could be you and Chase, like Chase and Inky. And I was like, okay, cool. But I really just wanted to create conversation, because I remember a time when Blog Talk was so congested. You had Red and Blue Tuesday and Friday. Then you had Abundance on Wednesday. Somebody else had Monday. I was on Thursday. It was just like so many people had Blog Talks. You couldn't even listen to everybody at the same time. You had to download shows because you was listening to somebody else's show while somebody's show was on. And then so much new stuff came out. Instagram and Snapchat and this thing and that thing and Periscope and live stream and so kind of those things replaced the Blog Talk, and I was just like, let me see if I can create a combination. Like maybe I'll video us do some Blog Talk live. So even still, people don't really understand exactly what's going on here. They're like, yo, is this a Blog Talk or is this a YouTube? I'm like, I'm YouTubing the Blog Talk. It's kind of both, but this is where we need to have these combos, because sometimes it's stuff that we got to talk about as a family. Like, yo, Dick Gregory calling Dr. Sabia agent post-mortem is some family conversation shit. Like, yo.
Yeah.
How do we?
And you're right. That's a big insult. You can't have balls and do that. That's nuts. And then he's not even here to defend himself. It's just nuts. It's nuts.
Right. It's like, yo, as a people, we can't even allow that to just fly by us. Like, whoa, what the hell was that? Like,
that's right.
An elephant just ran through my living room. Like, whoa, what the hell is that?
Well, we tend to be uptight too.
About this shit. Like, we have to have a conversation. My feelings are hurt. That like I went through different levels of shock with the thing. Like when I first seen the comments, somebody commented on my page, like, yeah, I just watched a video with Dick Gregory called Dr. Sabia agent. What's your opinion? I'm like, what the fuck? I almost was offended with the person. Like, yo, why would you try to start up some shit and say that about Dick Gregory? Like, I was Dick Gregory defense. Like, yo, how really disrespect the elder? Like, like Dick Gregory would never say no shit like that. But I'm like, yo, you know what? Let me do some research first and see, before I even answer, like, let me see if Dick Gregory actually said that. And then I see he got video, a couple of joints where he said that. I'm like, oh, my God.
Yep.
But did he start as a comedian, Dick Gregory? Did he not?
Yeah.
Am I correct in assuming that?
He was a shock. He was like a shock comedian, too. He was like more of a political shock comedian.
Well,
so,
I was just going to say the other thing I think is a problem also is that we have our arms open for everybody. Meaning, people that didn't give a fuck about us, they didn't pay us no attention. It seems like the conscious community is now that place where if all else fails everywhere else, you can come here and make you a few dollars and hold up until you can figure out your next move. You know, so you got rappers and shit. Their rap career is falling off. Oh, you can come talk some conscious shit over here and make a few bucks until you get your shit back together. Then they start making movies, and then you don't see none of that money. You don't see none of that money go where their mouth is. You don't see none of that money now. They make movies like, hey, where's your $5,000 for the school at? Where's your $10,000 to build a hospital and clinic? Like, where's your money? You talking that shit? Where's your this woman? The woman that was damn, what's her name, Maul? I know you know the one that says she wrote The Matrix. Sophia Stewart. Boom.
Sophia Stewart, yeah.
Stewart.
Okay.
Terminator, everything.
Every blog talk, every consciousness channel she could get on.
Yep.
While she didn't have no money and her situation was down because them dudes was tying her up in court, wouldn't let her get the win. Then she got the judgment, but then they was delaying the money and all kinds of shit. She was on every blog talk. She was so humble. Yeah. She was coming every week. Now, that's no longer the case. She done got a few dollars back, you know. Now she wavy.
And she out.
A sister here, a sister here, no, she's definitely going out the conscious community. A sister here asked her to come speak about what she's doing now and how her, you know, how everything progressed, et cetera, et cetera. She said, oh, I can't come out for no less than $10,000.
Oh, okay.
I can't come out for no less than $10,000 because I have to bring my staff and security and blah, 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 blah. Like, what?
Wow.
Somebody had.
But why are we so receptive in the conscious community? Why do we sit there with our arms open like that?
Because we have cognitive dissonance. We have cognitive dissonance. We like to just be in a comfortable place. You know, that's what trauma does to you. It just wants you to. You just create this situation where you're just looking for a comfortable, peaceful place where you don't want to ruffle any feathers. You know, but I'm like, listen, after we done had jazz and all this other shit stolen from us, we should, like, this is the last little vestige, you know. We started out, you know, hip-hop as an offshoot of consciousness, and then that was taken over, you know, as if it was really ours anyway, because once it got pumping out there, you know, we was signing contracts. Everybody wound up broke. Ain't nobody got no money. We don't control the distribution of the material, et cetera. So, you know, and that's now $1 billion, $1 trillion business, which is propping up the American economy that we're not getting any money off.
Not a penny.
But now, got this thing back, and it's like we trying to let it get stolen again. People talk about holistic healing. There's more people talking about supersize me and knives over forks and all this bullshit than there are people talking about Sabi's legacy. Dr. Africa, Minister Inky, or whoever you want to talk about.
Hold up. You know what, Inky? I went to Whole Foods the other day, Inky, and an Arab woman. I'm gonna say she's Arab because she had a hijab on and she was on a lighter shade, and she was like, "Oh, you look like you know, Doctor, you have most of the food from Dr. Sabi's list." I was a little shocked. I was like, wow, she seen my spelt pasta, and I had some other things in there, except for like tomato sauce and everything. So I was like, yeah, well, you know, I follow Dr. Sabi. I met him before he passed on, and she was like, oh my gosh, have you really? So it was just like a awe where some people do know of Dr. Sabi that I would never expect to know or would speak his name. But like you said, you know, now that he's gone, people don't celebrate him or don't hold him in high esteem. And I was concerned when I heard people speak on Sabi's winning case against the New York Supreme Court and how they tried to talk in a condescending fashion. So, you know, I some people don't believe in anything, even when there's facts there. So, you know, I can't speak on that type of atheism, I would say.
Or some people believe in everything because there's so much conflicting information and people running over here like sheep. Then they run, but he said this, and then they run over there, and nobody does any research either. So
believe any and everything. Gentleman and his team of people that try to shut down pseudoism, as they call it. So, you know, I respect their work, but some of the things seem a little outlandish to me, and I have questions. I had a debate myself with a archaeologist. Actually, it was a strange.
Wait a minute. We got one more caller.
Go ahead. You know me. Go ahead. Ink. My bad, bro.
I don't even know if I can get the message. Oh wait.
Go ahead, man. Ink. You like the conscious Noriega, man. You like conscious Nor. You just interrupt everybody. You're like, yo. I know, but look, right. Look, KT, hold up. I hear you, KT. I hear you. Go ahead, bro.
Wait, y'all stay there, though. 518-880. What's up? 518-880. 518-880. Talk right now.
Hello?
Hello?
Am I in?
Yeah, you in.
Hello? Peace, Minister. Salute, man.
Peace.
I just wanted to tell you thank you, man. I appreciate you, you know what I mean, for the work that you're putting in. I'm really, you know what I mean, adhering to the knowledge and putting it into play with my kids, and I'm noticing the difference in my, you know, day-to-day life. But I'm rocking with Sabi on this whole debate over the Dick Gregory thing all the way. You know what I'm saying? But I had a quick question as to why do you think that, you know, on the topic of all of these people who get money, all of these black actors, rappers, you know, people, all these people getting money, what is the fear or what is the reason that they're not contributing towards, you know what I mean, like black people, all the athletes and whatnot? Is it the contracts? Is it the endorsements? What is the fear for them in terms of not wanting to contribute? Because I'm in a position.
Listen, straight up that if they start doing certain things with their money, they're going to get cut off the breast.
Okay.
You know, so they are threatened. Their livelihood and career is threatened if they start associating with and investing into quote unquote. But see, everything is worded a certain type of way. But it's made clear because there's plenty of athletes that I speak to on a regular basis that is like, yo, you know, contractually, this conversation right now can fuck up my contract.
Right.
So there are contracts that these people are in that will prohibit them from doing certain things. Now, you do get certain athletes that don't care. They still do certain things, and it's like, well, you know, do whatever you got to do. I'm good because I already got my bread.
Right.
But for the most part, it's like a real thin line for them to be able to do certain things that they can say they gave back to the community while at the same time making sure they're not really doing anything that's empowering to the community.
Or before the corporations cut them off.
Right. Well, for instance, J. Cole, for instance, he does this thing where once a year he has like a picnic in the neighborhood, and people come out, they speak, they lecture, they give away book bags and some shoes or some shirts and shit, and the people are like, oh my God, he's giving back to the community. Like, what the fuck is that? That's bullshit. That's just some shit where you could take pictures and you could tell people, okay, boom, I did something. But that's nothing.
Right.
That's not meaningful. That's not going to change the community. It's not like, you know, the J. Cole Department for Research into Black Genetics and Cancer. You're like, you ain't doing no real shit. You know what I'm saying? When Europeans get money, they putting whole new wings on colleges. This is why when we go to colleges, anybody who's been to college, you look in college and you got the Johnson Wing for Science. That's because somebody who Johnson bought they made a donation so goddamn sizable to the college that they built that whole side of the building right there. And in exchange, their names on that wing and their children will never have to pay to attend that university.
Okay, I see. So I'm
you
curious
see what I'm saying?
because
like we got to get to that level with it. You know what I'm saying? We go into these hospitals like Montefiore. It's a Jewish named hospital, and people get upset like, "Oh, all the hospitals is Jewish." Nigga, because the Jewish folks are paying for hospitals.
But there's another aspect that we're forgetting is that when we become leaders of black communities, if you look at some of our leaders, they're dead. You see your holistic doctors being killed. People probably afraid to die too. Not to say there are not other ways to go, like random drive-bys and whatever, but that could be another deterrent, you know?
Well, no. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But listen, that's why what happens is people support. Send in the donations. Send in the money. So that way you can still stay identity, you know, you can still say anonymous. That's the word I'm looking for, anonymous. You know, like when Zimmerman shot the boy. You didn't have white people come out saying, "Hey, we're racist. Good job, Zimmerman." They didn't do that. They just quietly sent Zimmerman so much damn money that after he paid for all his legal fees, he was low-key like a millionaire.
That's true.
But he was wealthy.
That brings me to another issue. Why is it always a problem when black people look out for black people and aren't afraid to, you know, be hushed about it or be quiet about it? Like, why? But an Italian person could look out for an Italian person. White people could look out for in terms of money, whether they wash the money or not, and speak out about it. But anytime we do it, then they seem to find, you know, some sort of problem or issue with it. You know what I'm saying?
Because this system that we live in is built on our backs. And if we wake up, just the simple act of us waking up and changing our behavior patterns would change the structure of the system.
Completely.
It'll literally change the structure of the system overnight. We drive the economy. That's why everybody gets to set up businesses in our neighborhoods and flourish, because we don't support ourselves. If people opened up businesses in black neighborhoods and black people didn't support those businesses, they would shut down and stop doing it. They wouldn't be able to pay back the loans. They'd be defaulting on loans from the bank. They wouldn't be able to pay their mortgage. But since they know to keep us, so it hurts everybody if we wake up. So nobody wants to hear black folks even having those conversations. Chinese people don't want to hear black folks having those conversations. Spanish people don't want to hear us having those conversations. White people, Jewish people, Russians, Arabs, none of them want to hear this because they're all making a killing off of our ignorance.
Right. And even our own selves.
Look, think about the Arabs when they come in. Look what they do in the corner now. Now, most of these Arabs profess to be Muslim. Do you think they could open up stores in their communities as Muslims that sell drug paraphernalia and pornography? Hell no. But they could do it in our community and get rich off of it. And as they're selling the drug paraphernalia, because nobody thinks about this. Nobody thinks about who's selling all the scales, who's selling the vials and the little baggies, the 10-10. Like, who sells those things that allows somebody to sell crack and heroin and They have to have the tools. So how is it that these people have a multi-million-dollar industry in urban communities selling the tools that you need to sell drugs, which is against their religion? However, what we don't know is these religions have back doors. If you're not a part of the religion, then it's okay to do anything to your ass. You know, fuck it. You know, you ain't down with us. So you food. You understand what I'm saying? So we just sleep. We zombies. You know, we out here listen. I mean, listen. We could go on forever, man. I'm gonna let y'all all three make closing statements, and then we getting out of here because we.
Can I ask a question real quick though? What can I ask a question? What makes a person when you post a video and it's up for like 7 minutes? How does someone dislike your video that fast?
Personality worship.
Okay, personality put that out there.
And then also, you got to realize when we doing what we doing, you have agents. Like, you know, that word has been thrown around so much that it's watered down and it doesn't have effect. But there really are agents that work online. And they use social media to persuade group thought. So what they don't want is you or us to be able to utilize social media and persuade group thought. So they have people in place to create distractions, become nuisances, to troll, to try to comment up your videos and change the way people see, because perception is a very, very personal thing. Just like I was saying about the Get Out video, the Get Out movie. As much as black people are looking at that and they're like, yeah, somebody's telling our story. You read these threads, there's people that's Aryans and Nazi KKK folks that's in support of the movie as well, because the movie supports black fear of white folks. It supports black people being paralyzed in the face of white power. You see, that's why they compared the black folks to being deer in headlights.
Wow.
So as we look at it from one angle, there's always other angles to see something. Perception is unique. It's like a fingerprint. We could all look at the same event and see something completely different.
Right.
So these people, a lot of these trolls are not always people. A lot of times these trolls, because I just check, I'll click on their thing and you'll see their personality was just made, or they don't have no videos, no pictures up on their thing. They just trolls. Their whole thing is to troll. So it's like, these are not even really identities. This is probably like somebody sitting at their computer with 50 different personas online, just paid to troll, paid to move group thought away from, progressive thinking. So some of this stuff has to be taken with a grain of salt. But since you on the floor, Maul, closing statement.
Oh, man, like I said, I came in late. I just heard the Baba Dick Gregory thing. I just wanted to say peace to the family. And I look forward to more shows. And I don't know if you will continue on because, like you said, you was looking for your lane with the blog talk and all. But I like the Chasing Inky show right now. And I didn't get to hear from the young guy, but, I appreciate you allowing me to speak my mind. And I don't mind you.
He's kind of wore out because I had them at the Harriet Washington, the sister who did who wrote Medical Apartheid. She was here at Detroit tonight. She gave a lecture at the African Museum. So we went to see that, and then right after that was this. So soon as we got in from that.
Peace.
Peace. What's going on?
Like I said, peace to the family, and I said my part right now. You know what I mean? And I look forward to straying the conversation again.
All right, sis, from the 786, closing statements.
Well, I want to reiterate how much I appreciate everything that you're doing for all of us in the community, and to keep on shining your light and being that example. But to everyone else, I also want to add that when we follow people, take stock in who you're listening to and just look at how they deal with the public and exactly how they're coming and delivering their message. Like, for example, back to Baba Gregory, when he does these, and I call it, it's like Tourette's. He's like, did I ask you to answer me? That's not what I'm saying. I mean, you can't follow people on vibes like that. You got to feel how they're moving. And if they're genuine, you know what I'm saying, you should be able to see that. All this, fighting and arguing and biting people's heads off, it's not the kind of people we need to be following. You got to be able to read through at least that much. You know what I mean? So that's just what I want to contribute. Pay attention.
All right, big bro from the 518. What you got?
Good, man. No, just to piggyback off what the sister said, peace, love, and light to everybody, man. I appreciate all the work that you're doing. It's definitely resonating with me. And, the reason why I asked all those questions about contracts and athletes is because I'm in my lower 20s, and in about 2 years, I'll be on the stage to be able to, be in a position to put this stuff out there on blast and on notice. And, once that happens, it's a wrap, man. So thank you.
Wait, let me say this.
All the work you put in.
Let me say this, because I want you to be clear about this, and I want everybody else to be clear. We don't all need to be in front of the camera.
Okay.
So, if you find yourself in a situation where you're an athlete, an actor, or even if you're in corporate America, tech industry somewhere, and you get the bag, you secure the bag, don't mess up the bag. Don't mess up the bag trying to enlighten folks.
Okay.
Find a way to put a little bag together and get that to somebody who could get that to somebody who could get that to somebody who could get that to who need to get it, where they could make something happen without you necessarily getting hot with the bag. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Getting yourself in a line of fire to mess up the bag, but make sure that it happens though. You know what I'm saying? Where folks know.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Because word on the street will always travel. So you ain't got to necessarily be out on Front Street for people to know, like, no. He holds it down.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you see Styles P, and I always use him for example because if you listen to his lyrics, he's one of the hardest rappers out. The gun,
like you said, it's cocaine cowboys.
Right, but he does work in the community.
Right.
He pushes enlightenment, he pushes exercise, he pushes health, he promotes family, he promotes fatherhood. Like, off, when the cameras is off, he's really putting his money where his mouth is in the community.
Right.
And he's quiet about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like brothers like that, like, okay, he's just cut from a certain type of cloth where he gonna do what he do regardless. But, for everybody else, secure the bag and just make sure that somehow it get to somebody who it get to somebody who get to somebody else that can get the bag where we need to get it and get some stuff done. So don't mess up the bag, brother. I would not. I do not want to suggest that folks that's talented and able to get the bag on a large stage jump out there and say, fuck white folks. Like, don't do that.
Yeah. That's what I want. That's what I want to do, man. I really want to get this stuff out there. But I appreciate the guidance because I don't really got any like male figures as far as like people to look out to try to see how to go about doing this. So I appreciate the insight, and I'll orient my thinking around that, and then move in that fashion accordingly so that we can get this work done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Lots of love to you.
Thank you. Yes. And to the family. All right, Chase. Say peace to the family.
Peace.
Peace, Chase. Peace, young king.
Peace.
Get in the business. Peace.
Spring, it's finally here. Time to grab your tackle bag, get back on the water, and into the fish. Cabela's Spring Great Outdoor Days. Family events, amazing deals. Your one stop before the water. Get 30% off all in-stock Cabela's rods, reels, and fishing line. And 25% off Berkley plastics and dough baits. Plus, find more great deals like $100 off new Vortex Viper HD binos. Don't miss out. Shop in-store or online at Cabela's.com.